Hello, this is MARSHALgoldpack, founder and creator of the Goldpack clan. This is my log part 2. So, from the good old days of my first and second year of being on Xbox Live and running my very first clan on Halo 3, it ended from the wrath of the Guardians grunts. That was I'll never forget that raid. That was pretty, I was raging at the time because I didn't know what I was doing, but it was pretty amazing. Time to be moving on through the legacy though. So, it was only Halo Reach was on the edge of coming out, and it was actually one of the very few games me and my brother put our money together at the time and pre-ordered it, got it the day it came out. We didn't play the beta, but we played it the day it came out. Oh my god, it was insane. Like Halo 3 was majestic, but this took majestic to a whole new level. Halo Reach, I reckon, is the best Halo ever made. The campaign was incredibly emo. Every cutscene had to have a depressing moment inside of it, but the actual game itself was just astonishing. Like, wow. I wish you could fly the Pelicans in multiplayer, but it can't be perfect. It's not far from it, I reckon, though. So, me and all the ex-members of GOLDPACK, or half of the first gen, we're still all friends, even though we weren't doing it again. Like, we just thought, yeah, we'll give it a break. It was all gone for them, but for me, I thought the clan community, for me, I'm like just getting started, you know? Like, I'm not gonna give up on it. That actual raid, when I first actually got a mental grip on what a proper raid was, I thought it was very intriguing. But the new Halo Reach game was more intriguing than any other game I've ever played in my life, so I was way too focused on that, as was everyone else. I mean, you've never been able to customize your armor the way you can in Halo Reach, so everyone was just fixated on ranking up and getting the armor they wanted. I loved it, and the second I found out about the Gungnir helmet, it was just like, oh my god, it was the coolest Spartan helmet I've ever laid eyes on. I had to have it. So I was pretty much the same. For a good couple of months, we just flat out kept playing Reach until me and Sniper Aaron. Well, I was Sniper Aaron, but my friend, one of my best mates in real life, Chris, who was Chris's Sev, we got to the point when we were colonels, we were like, yep, okay, let's do it. Because I told him that I've been working on a map. I've always loved Fortune and creating things, but the Forge was just so incredible on Halo Reach. The second you get into Forge World, it was like, whoa, like, is this actually happening? Like, seriously, look at the size of this map. Funny, even though after Halo 4 has come out, like, Forge World is still continuing to be the best Forge map ever made. 343 Studios. What are they doing? Anyway, so me and Chris said, yep, let's do it. Like, well, let's put our heads together and really get it going. Except this time, let's get into the community. When we come across another clan, let's not get run over like we did last time. Let's make a stand. This is where we will never back down. Let's go. So, we immediately got the uniforms back on, recruited all our mates, all our friends again. I did a lot more of the recruiting because I was more eager to get it going than Chris. He was still, he was still more interested in getting past my rank on Halo Reach. So, we immediately started mass recruiting on this brand new base we made. It was pretty epic. We looked at it as our HQ, our overall base. I mean, it was hard enough making the one. I had a couple others going, but they never really saw the light of day with battling on. It was just the one amazing base. That was far from OP as well, but we practiced on it. Like, we wouldn't have secret teleports or any of that rubbish, but we would have a special back entrance to get into, which the enemy could find out if Ashley got behind the base. Like, it was just a really well built map. I spent countless hours designing it. It's a bum I don't have it anymore because it was on a very old Xbox 360 that broke down on me and got the memory formatted. Oh well. But yeah, the Guardian Grunts, we decided to stay away from them since they're the clan. Like, if we were powerful enough, we'd definitely go up against them. But as far as we're concerned, they had like over 100 members, or over 200 members maybe. It was kind of crazy actually. In that raid we lost, that ended the first gen of GOLDPACK. Like, seriously. If one of our members lagged out or timed out, bang, he immediately got replaced with one of the other members, and that's how the raid worked. I understood that part of it. It was kind of depressing because we did have a party and people waiting, but they just weren't quick enough. I mean, this was crazy. They're just like ODSTs, like they just dropped in there the second there was room. We had to start doing what the other clans were onto. And we noticed that training was a good factor to take in. So on the HQ, I set up a little training side of it as well. So when we recruited people, we could actually train them to make sure they're at a good level. If they were extremely poor, then they would be forced to train or they wouldn't be able to join. We did have a standard. So we continue to grow. I was even working on a Facebook page for GOLDPACK, so we can talk about things if we ever went on Xbox for our phone. And yeah, it was going pretty well. When we got past 40 members, which only took us about 3 weeks of just flat out mass recruiting, it was time to start challenging the other arrivals because they started noticing our recruitment messages and they'd get on to us about it and thought, okay, you want to raid? Let's talk. And we organized battles. Standing tall, we're ready. We're like, give it to us. You want to attack or defend? We came across a couple of smaller clans that were hungry to get a rep. They talked about all the other big clans in the community. It was pretty exciting. And it wasn't really aggressive, but we'll definitely do a raid. Whoever lost got pretty aggressive. We didn't lose our first 7 games. Amazing. Like, that was so tough to beat. One of them even went over for 2 hours. That was 2 hours. That was a record back then. Like, I mean, seriously. We're lucky to stay in the game for an hour before the other or us would start getting pretty annoyed of the same game. And I thought the idea of infinity ammo was annoying back then too. I don't know why they have to do infinity. I get the reason of it, but I feel that it's extremely unrealistic for a person to pull ammunition out of his bum. I mean, seriously, you should have limited ammo. If you have to do unlimited ammo to do a raid, I just think it's poorly designed. But we went with the rules anyway. Otherwise, that would go absolutely berserkers if we didn't play by the rules, the community rules. They kept flagging. And things are going well. We weren't defeated. I mean, some clans reckon they beated us, but everyone says the opposite thing when there's conflict against other clans. No one wants to admit defeat. I find it hilarious, actually. We tied 2 clans because one was when we're defending, the other one when we're attacking. One of them was known as Dogs of War. That's when we were attacking their base. It just kept going on, and it was pretty neck to neck, and we were like, look, I seriously got to go to bed. I've actually got to go to school this time for a major exam, so I was like, okay, we'll just call it off. And the other time it was a tide is when we were defending, and this other clan, I can barely remember the name. It just had something protocol in it. Protocol soldiers. Wait, no, protocol marines. They wore green and steel, green being the primary forest green. They end up tiring us. We never wanted to lose a game, like we refused. Worst comes to worst, was a tie. And we played a lot of BTB, so we could always keep ranking up as well. I always played a lot of Firefight, and even Halo 3 ODSTs to get some of the old achievements. We loved Halo 3 ODST, but we're slowly moving on to Reach more and more as we kept playing. But it wasn't too long. Like, one of my friends, Jared, I forgot his old gamer tag. His name's Jared. He lives in Western Australia. He's half Russian, half Australian, but he really likes to pretend, like act like a Russian. He knows like a little bit of Russian. He doesn't speak it fluently, but if anyone knows this guy called USSR Helljumper, please contact me. I miss him. He was a funny guy. I miss you, bro. But USSR Helljumper said he knew a really big clan. And because we've never lost a raid and we already had about 16 wins by that point, 2 ties. I mean, we got defeated in a BTB a couple of times by some MLG groups who would literally force us to do a BTB or lose in a raid and say, okay, BTB us, and they'd like kick our ass. I don't know, raids just seem... I guess because raid felt like more of a war than BTB felt like some sort of paintball skirmish game. I don't know. Raids were just a whole lot more fun for us to play. Anyway, try not to go off track. So, since we're going so good, and by that point, we already had 90 members. And this was like in the middle of 2011. Me, Chris, Jared, I wish I knew everyone else's name, it fades me, it was that long ago. We were pumped and we thought, okay, let's take on a big clan. And Jared was in contact with his clan. He was actually thinking of joining, but he enjoyed our Ring of Friends too much, so he stayed with us. He contacted them and said, we'd like to do war. They agreed. We actually had a meeting with armed guards on both sides and agreed to do a war. We'll attack first, then we'll defend, we'll do a BTB, and then another BTB, and if there's a tie, then we'll do another BTB, and then another 2 raids, and even team objective games or team TAC if it kept continuing. We attacked, and we lost. Like, I thought their base was a little OP, but to be honest, when they described it to me, I guess it was understandable. It wasn't OP, but it was intense. Like, this was some sort of fortress. We did have warhogs. We didn't have a gas hog, but we had rockets and a default. But it was so tough. I mean, seriously, it was insane. But we end up pulling it off. For the first 30 minutes, we nearly took their base. It was actually quite incredible. But then suddenly a lag spike hit. We lost a lot of members. We're down to 5 people, and the rest were all USSR members. And it was on the downhill from that point. We ended up losing it. Went for like nearly 2 hours. Not quite. So we thought, okay, time for us to defend. We always seem to love defending a lot more. Because we felt that our bases were better. I guess everyone feels like that. But when it came to the defensive game, oh my god, it was insane. We always loved forging. Like, before, I got stuck dead set into the forging of Halo Reach and making bases for other clans and for myself and people. There's this game called Far Cry. I'm pretty sure the pictures are showing up now. You should be able to see them. They actually took down the updating board for this game. So you had a map, and if it got downloads, the stats would show up, but they stopped updating the game, so the stats actually just stopped appearing altogether. But I had over 1,000 downloads on my maps. They're insane. And these maps would just get so many, like, you could see if someone was playing on your map, and if I came online. Like, when I move to Halo Reach to start up Gen 2 Gold Pack, I had to delete so many Far Cry players because I used to just be a Far Cry junkie. That game was pretty amazing. What I loved most about it was the Forge. I could not get over the Forge. Seriously. The map community in that game was insane. Like, you'd start with nothing but flat ground, and you could, like a flat desert, and you could build it up any way you want. God, if Halo had that kind of Forge, you would see the most insane maps. I'd just blow your mind. Screw matchmaking. You just play custom games forever. But the USSR, like, when we actually went into that raid, the USSR was pretty intent on winning. They were losing for the first hour of the game. And then I got a message. Jared was actually receiving the messages because he could actually speak a little bit of Russian. And some of the people in the USSR actually only spoke a Russian. They'd have translators. So it was actually really funny. I'm like, this is so cool and awkward. Some of them, only a handful, even lived in Russia. Like, wow, it's pretty cool. I heard they had a lot of hackers and stuff. I thought that was all. I thought hackers were like ghosts, not even real. It's just people talking up. I've never come across one back then because I was only into my second year of online gaming, approaching the third. So what happened is in the first hour of that raid, we were holding off pretty damn well. Occasionally we'd die and have to scramble back into the base. But what happened is Jared received messages from one of them, voice messages, and they said, "We like your base. We like your base a lot. We are going to take it from you." I thought it was hilarious. Actually, I took it as a compliment, but Jared said, "No, that's a threat, dude. This is going to be ugly." And I thought, no way. That was my most intense raid for Gen 2. It ought to be because it pretty much broke Gen 2. It lasted for nearly 4 hours would have been it. It would have been nearly like about 3 hours and 50 or 3 hours and 40 minutes because I was watching the clock. Like I ended up looking up and thinking, holy crap, it's been going for this long. I mean, I had 480 kills by the time the game was over. It was a slaughtering frenzy sometimes, because sometimes everyone died and they'd be killing each other at the spawn and everyone trying to capture the base, or there might be a lag spike and the game does a reset and everyone spawns at the spawn. It's like, oh, this is unfair. You gotta try and mow people down and get scrambled back into the base. The connection was so bad on Halo Reach back then. So horrible. I didn't even know how to make my internet connection a lot better like I do now. I wasn't as professional back then. So my lag must have been dreadful. Because I know I kept lagging. I was hosting the game. How does that make sense? But yeah. So, into the second hour of the raid, like, things were pretty tight. Our members were getting angry and they wanted to leave. And I was like, if you do this, you might as well leave GOLDPACK altogether. Because this raid is a code black. Like, you can't get any more serious. This raid is the biggest lane we're taking on. We need every man we can get. But the USSR had like over 150 members, surely, because they kept swapping out members. Someone would leave and one of them would quickly join, like they planned that. I don't know, I wasn't in their party so I couldn't tell, but that's how I saw it anyway. So me, my close friends thought that this was getting pretty bullshit, we should just give up. I'm like, not even, and that was in the third hour. I kept fighting and I said, defend me. I'd send messages to all my friends and even some of the friends on their friends list, because I knew then GOLDPACK, but I could only fit so many people on my friends list. That was like, code black, we need your help. Please get your ass in here if you can. Join this party, or Jara's party, or Chris's party, Chris's party. And like, we were pushing it so bad. What happened in the fourth hour though? I hate this when this happens. Like, it's so horrible. You're playing, it's so intense. You wish the game was over. And when things are really starting to get like down to the bone, suddenly there's a big lag spike, like the mother of lag spikes just kicking, and everyone starts glitching into walls and dropping dead, and then the game freezes. It's so bad. It froze. Oh, and boy, we only like we weren't even fully in control of the base. The USSR members were pouring in. When the game froze, we had 5 men, and the rest were all USSR. We were in our base, but we're back into like the armory defending that, trying to make sure I don't get hold of all the good weapons, so then we'll surely never get our base again. And that's when it froze. It was hilarious because USSR hell jumper, his name was Jared, with a bunch of numbers like a Spartan tag. He was the last thing I remember before the game froze was they all made a big push. The USSR tried to squeeze their way into the armory. And I had a Spartan laser and Jared had a shotgun. And he's like, he was speaking, I don't know why, he normally speaks English, but this time he was screaming in Russian. He told me that he was screaming, back the fuck off, I'm gonna lose my shit. And I'm like, dude, what's happening? Because the lag was getting so bad. I got a triple kill with my Spartan laser. And then suddenly, one of them got a frag behind me and ended up killing me. I died. And I'm like, no! And Jared's like, no! And we all started screaming. And then bang, the game just froze. So, when I got back online, oh my god, the drama was up in the air. I kid you not, it was messed up. I had so many messages from my own members and USSR, more from the USSR. And they're like, this is a road win, we'll now claim your map. And I'm like, no! It's like, the game freezing does not count as a raid win. There must be something we can do. It's probably cheeky of me, but I was like, how about we call it a tie? Because they probably just killed me and a lot of the people defending the army, they probably didn't want to call it a tie. They want to call it a win. You know, I can see the logic in that. But this was pretty much our only map. Right? I had a lot on the way, but this was the map, the epic map. And we didn't want to let it go. We didn't want to let go of our HQ, so we're trying to come up with any compromise. And they're just like, this is a win, like it or not, it's in our books, we're now going to download your map. I'm like, you guys are grotty. Boy, did they not like that. One of them friends who DDoSed me offline from saying that, I'm like, not even, like seriously, that's, go have a sook if you're going to be like that. But, that was man, the next day, like, I pretty much turned it off from there. I don't like when people threaten by hacking. I'm not a really big fan of it. But when that happened, I said no. And my last response to one of the leaders, I think it was USSR ODST with a combination of numbers. I can't. He wasn't the overall leader, but he was one of the main leaders, like in the top 10, top 15, you want to put it. The primary one had to get offline. I'm pretty sure the primary one. Well, no, I'm probably getting confused with a friend there anyway. So, the last thing I said to him is like, look, we can start that raid again another day, not now, because we've got to go. Like, it was so late, it was 1 o'clock in the morning, which is pretty late for me. I don't normally go that late back then. Still doing school. So, we agreed to keep it like that. Well, GOLDPACK agreed. We thought it was pretty fair. It wasn't a loss, it wasn't a win, and we'll continue to raid or talk about it. Then Jared said, this is gonna look bad. I'm like, well, I'll just have to live with it. So the next day I got online. GOLDPACK was... We hosted a meeting, a major meeting, on the map that apparently wasn't meant to be ours anymore. And we told them exactly what happened and what their opinion is on it. And they thought that calling a tie would have been suitable because it was a freeze. But a couple of them also said, like, nah, they should have the base. I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, why? Tell me your side of it. It's like, they deserve the win. They did a better job. I'm like, yeah, I would agree with you there if the game didn't froze at the end. And he said, well, that's just my opinion. Don't take it so harshly. I'm like, fair enough. But something I haven't got, like, me and my members, we didn't recruit arseholes. We'd just recruit cool people normally. People easy to get along with. Good sense of humor, kind-hearted normally, would aim for. But that was weird because I never really got an attitude out of... Like, he had a lot of attitude in his voice. The words he used went too harsh, but, man, there was some attitude in there. And me and Chris had a talk and was like, dude, I got a couple messages from our members saying that, that one of these guys wants to be a leader. His name was 234 Spartan Snipe. And he recommended him to be the new second in command of GOLDPACK. And I'm thinking, who is he to say that? Like, he doesn't get the pick. He doesn't get to decide. That was weird. We had to talk about him and just said, well, a lot of the other people feel that there should be a new change of leadership. And I'm thinking, not even close. I'm like, where's this coming from? Like, did we do something wrong? And we had a word with him and said, don't want to hear it again. Otherwise things won't be going very pleasant your way. And we left it at that. We kept recruiting. We started mass recruit because we need more members. We got over the numbers of 100 members by that point. We're on the rise. Actually, we got a lot of members. In just nearly a month, we got 40 members. We're well and truly above 100 members by that point. I reckon we're at 140, but it's probably taking away AFK members, 130 being it. But something that felt right because it was too easy to get that many members. It is not that easy. Like, it is easy, but it's not like they're leaving at the same time. I expected to lose a lot of people after that raid, but we were like gaining people out of it. It felt really awkward. I was happy, but it still felt awkward. No one else thought anything was wrong with it, but I didn't like the feeling, and I knew something was wrong. And I started getting more attitude from a lot of the members. I'm thinking, this is weird. An increase. I'm still recruiting like normal, but I've got more members than ever before. It's just like, hosting a 16-player lobby was nothing. It was nothing at all. We could probably pull off 2 lobbies for 16 members in a day if we wanted to, easy. But a lot of the members were acting a little bit shady. At least a quarter of them. It was weird. And I started having a feeling that they weren't on my good side either. And Chris came to me and said, dude, I'm getting the exact same thing, what's going on? And we got another message from someone in the USSR. It was on a silver account, it had no gold, and said, your clan will be ours. It will no longer exist by the next month. For fuck you. That's not cool. And Chris got the same message, and Jared did too. And Jared said, look, I'm half Russian, I'm gonna go with them. I love you guys, but I want to move on. It's like, dude, fair enough. He went, but he wasn't angry or happy. I mean, he seemed kind of depressed. I thought he knew what was going on. Spies. I reckon the USSR were sending spies into our clan to try and start some sort of rebellion so they could pretty much take control of the entire clan. That had to be it. And we had to really watch what was happening next. I'm MARSHALgoldpack. If you enjoyed this vlog, I'll see you for the next one in part 3. As always, see you on the flip side, guys.